There's something strange about the way we think about our bodies. Everywhere we look, we are told that we need to be leaner, stronger, taller, more symmetrical. Advertisements show us sculpted perfection. Social media feeds us a constant stream of unrealistic beauty. And even in our own minds, we imagine that if we could just change one more thing, lose a little fat, gain a little muscle, fix that one flaw, we would finally feel worthy. But what if this entire way of thinking is wrong? What if chasing the perfect body is not the path to confidence, but the thing that keeps us from ever feeling good enough? What if the very idea of a perfect body is an illusion designed to keep us in a cycle of dissatisfaction? Musashi, the legendary samurai, never obsessed over his appearance. He did not sculpt his body for aesthetics. He trained for function, for ability, for mastery. And yet today we have become obsessed with looking strong rather than being strong, with appearing healthy rather than actually feeling good. We measure ourselves not by what our bodies can do, but by how they compare to an unattainable standard. And this is where the suffering begins. Because perfection is not real. No matter how much you improve, there will always be something to fix, some way to be better, some reason to feel inadequate. The finish line keeps moving. You lose the weight, but now you're too thin. You gain muscle, but now you're too bulky. You tone up, but now you see a flaw you never noticed before. The game never ends.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Why do we fall for this? Because we have been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to our appearance. That if we can just achieve a certain look, we will finally be respected, admired, loved. But has this ever been true? Look at the people who are obsessed with their bodies. Are they the happiest? Look at the ones who have reached the peak of physical perfection. Are they free from insecurity? Or are they still chasing, still looking for the next improvement, still afraid of losing what they worked so hard to build? The truth is, when your confidence is based on external perfection, you are never free. You are always one flaw away from feeling unworthy. Musashi understood that true strength comes not from how you look, but from what you can do. A blade is not judged by how shiny it is, but by how sharp it is. A warrior is not measured by the size of his muscles, but by his ability to win battles. And life is the same. Your body is not an ornament, it is an instrument. It is not here to be admired, it is here to be used. And the moment you shift your focus from appearance to function, everything changes. Suddenly, training is no longer about aesthetics, but about ability. Eating is no longer about restriction, but about nourishment. Movement is no longer about burning calories, but about expressing power. You stop seeing your body as something to be judged and start seeing it as something to be experienced. But the world does not want you to think this way. The world profits from your insecurity. The fitness industry thrives on making you feel like you are never enough. The beauty industry exists to convince you that you need fixing. Social media runs on comparison, on the endless cycle of measuring yourself against carefully curated illusions. And the more you chase perfection, the more they win. Because the more insecure you feel, the more you spend, the more you scroll, the more you seek validation that will never truly satisfy you. So what is the way out? How do we break free from the illusion that we need the perfect body to be happy? The first step is to truly see the game for what it is. To recognize that the goalposts will always move, that perfection is not real, that the pursuit of an idealized body will never bring lasting fulfillment. But more importantly, to realize that you already have everything you need. You do not need to look a certain way to be worthy. You do not need to meet an impossible standard to be enough. You are not a product to be perfected. You are a living being to be experienced. Think about the moments when you have felt truly alive. Were you thinking about how you looked, or were you lost in the experience? The best moments in life do not come from being admired. They come from being immersed in the present. From movement, from challenge, from connection, from adventure. And none of those require physical perfection. They only require that you stop obsessing over how you appear and start living fully in the body you already have. Look at the people who truly inspire you. Are they the most physically perfect? Or are they the ones who move with confidence, with power, with presence? True confidence does not come from meeting a standard. It comes from owning yourself fully, from stepping into your body with full acceptance, from realizing that your value is not tied to aesthetics, but to the way you exist in the world. But this is not to say that you should neglect your body, quite the opposite. Taking care of yourself is important, but not because you need to look perfect, but because your body is the vehicle through which you experience life. Train because it makes you stronger, not because you hate the way you look. Eat well because it fuels you, not because you are punishing yourself. Move because life is meant to be lived, not because you are chasing an illusion of worth. When you shift your mindset from aesthetics to ability, from insecurity to appreciation, from judgment to experience, everything changes. Imagine a world where you no longer waste energy worrying about how you look, where you wake up and move through life without the constant anxiety of comparison, where you train, eat, and live not out of self-hatred, but out of self-respect, where you finally feel free in your own skin. This is not just possible, it is your natural state. The only thing standing in the way is the illusion that you are not enough as you are. So the real question is, why do you believe you need the perfect body? Who told you that you weren't already worthy? And what would happen if you stopped chasing an illusion and started living fully without apology? Without waiting for some future version of yourself to give you permission to exist? The truth is, you do not need the perfect body. You only need to realize that you never needed it in the first place. The illusion of the perfect body is one of the most persistent lies of modern life. It is a lie that keeps people trapped in endless cycles of dissatisfaction, always believing that they are just one step away from finally feeling good about themselves. But the moment they reach that step, the goal shifts. They lose weight, but now they think they need more muscle. They gain muscle, but now they feel too bulky. They get lean, but now they obsess over tiny imperfections. The finish line always moves, because the system is designed to make sure that no one ever feels like they have arrived. A person who believes they are enough does not spend money trying to fix themselves. A person who is content with their body does not fall for every product that promises to make them better. The industries that profit from insecurity, fitness, beauty, social media, even medicine, do not want people to feel satisfied. They want them to keep chasing, keep buying, keep believing that happiness is always just out of reach. But here's the truth. The body you have right now is the only body you will ever experience life through. If you spend your entire existence believing it is not good enough, you will waste years waiting to live. There are people who refuse to go to the beach because they are ashamed of how they look. People who avoid relationships because they think they need to fix themselves first. People who miss out on experiences, on freedom, on joy, because they have convinced themselves that they need permission from some future version of themselves before they are allowed to exist fully. But that future version will never arrive. Because if you cannot find self-acceptance now, you will not find it later. The mind that constantly demands improvement is the same mind that will always find something to criticize. It does not matter what changes you make if you do not break free from the belief that your worth is tied to perfection. You will always feel like you are not enough. Look at the people who are truly magnetic, the ones who walk into a room and command attention. Are they the most physically perfect? Or are they the ones who are completely comfortable in their own skin? Confidence is not a byproduct of perfection. Confidence is the thing that makes people attractive, not the other way around. The ones who are the most compelling are not necessarily the ones with the most symmetrical features, the lowest body fat, or the most sculpted muscles. They are the ones who own themselves. They move with ease because they are not at war with themselves. They do not shrink. They do not apologize for existing. They do not hesitate to take up space. This is what makes them powerful. And this is what is available to anyone who is willing to let go of the illusion that they must first meet some external standard before they are allowed to feel worthy. Musashi understood this in a way that people today do not. He did not waste time trying to shape his appearance into something that would impress others. His focus was on function, on ability, on mastery. Strength was not measured by how he looked, but by what he could do. And this is the truth that modern society has abandoned. A body is not an ornament. A body is a tool. It is not here to be admired. It is here to be used. And yet, people spend their lives treating their bodies like objects to be displayed rather than instruments to be lived in. They chase aesthetics at the cost of ability. They obsess over details that do not matter while neglecting the things that do. They starve themselves to be skinnier while losing energy, strength, vitality. They punish themselves in the gym not to become more capable, but to fit an image. They treat food like an enemy instead of a source of fuel. And in doing so, they forget what it actually means to be alive. A person who is truly free in their body does not live in a constant state of restriction, calculation, and anxiety. They move because movement feels good. They eat in a way that supports their life, not in a way that is dictated by fear. They train for strength, for endurance, for resilience, not just for appearance. They see their body not as a project to be perfected, but as the vehicle through which they experience life. And because of this, they do not waste time obsessing over how they compare to others. They are too busy living. Think about how much mental energy is wasted in self-criticism. How much time is lost standing in front of mirrors, analyzing flaws that no one else even notices. How much joy is sacrificed because of the belief that happiness is something that must be earned through suffering and self-denial. There are people who will look back on their lives and realize that they spent decades worrying about things that never mattered, that they missed opportunities, avoided experiences, and rejected themselves over and over again, all because they believed a lie. And by the time they understand the truth, the time they lost is gone. But this does not have to be the way things are. The moment a person decides that they no longer need to meet an impossible standard, everything changes. They stop waiting for permission to live. They stop holding themselves back. They stop making choices based on fear of judgment and start making choices based on what actually brings them fulfillment. And in doing so, they gain something that no amount of physical perfection can provide: freedom. There is nothing wrong with training, with improving, with wanting to be stronger, healthier, or more capable. But the moment those things become an obsession driven by insecurity, they become a prison. The body is meant to be experienced, not constantly evaluated. The body is meant to be lived in, not endlessly criticized. The body is meant to be used, not just looked at. The ones who understand this are the ones who move through the world with power. They are not waiting until they look a certain way to enjoy life. They are not holding back until they feel perfect. They are too busy living fully in the present to waste time worrying about an illusion. So the question is not whether you can achieve the perfect body. The question is why you believe you need it in the first place. Who convinced you that you were not already enough? And what would happen if you stopped chasing an ideal and started living without apology? Because the truth is, the thing you are really looking for is not in the mirror. It is in the way you move through the world. It is in the way you carry yourself. It is in the way you show up for your life, fully, without hesitation. And the moment you stop believing the lie that you need to be perfect before you can be happy, you will realize that you were always free. The moment you stop believing that your worth is tied to your appearance, a massive weight lifts. You stop looking at yourself as a project that needs constant fixing, and you start living. But this is easier said than done because the world is designed to keep you in a state of dissatisfaction. Every ad you see, every influencer you follow, every fitness trend that promises to finally get you there is part of a system that profits from your insecurities. The more you believe you are not enough, the more they win. This is why, no matter how much progress people make, they rarely feel satisfied. There is always something new to chase, always a new flaw to fix, always another level of perfection that seems just out of reach. And this is not an accident. It is a design. But once you see the design, you can break free from it. You can step outside the cycle of self-criticism and recognize that the goalposts are always moving because they were never real in the first place. You do not need to reach an arbitrary level of leanness or muscularity or symmetry to be worthy. You do not need to measure up to a fabricated standard to be happy. The only thing standing between you and freedom is the belief that your body is something that needs to be fixed before you can fully live. And once you let that belief go, you gain something that no amount of dieting or training can provide: peace. This does not mean that you stop taking care of yourself. It means that you shift your focus from external validation to internal strength. You stop training to look a certain way and start training to feel a certain way. You stop eating based on fear and start fueling yourself based on what actually makes you feel alive. You stop moving through life with the constant anxiety of not being enough and start owning the fact that you were never supposed to be a copy of someone else's ideal. Think about the times when you felt the most powerful. Were they the moments when you were obsessing over your reflection? Or were they the moments when you were fully immersed in life, doing something that made you feel unstoppable? Strength does not come from aesthetics. It comes from presence, from the way you carry yourself, from the way you move through the world, from the way you decide that you belong exactly as you are. But people will argue, doesn't improving your body improve your confidence? To some degree, yes. When you train, when you gain strength, when you take care of yourself, you naturally feel better. But the issue is not self-improvement. The issue is the reason behind it. If you are training because you love your body and want to see what it is capable of, that is powerful. But if you are training because you believe you are not enough without a certain look, that is a prison. One path leads to freedom. The other leads to endless chasing. Look at the people who never feel satisfied, no matter how much progress they make. They build muscle, but now they think they need to be leaner. They get lean, but now they think they need more size. They sculpt their bodies, but now they are afraid of aging, of losing what they worked so hard for. This is not confidence. This is fear. And fear is what keeps people trapped in cycles of self-doubt. The ones who are truly free are the ones who have stepped outside that cycle. The ones who have realized that their worth was never tied to perfection in the first place. They still train, still take care of themselves, but they do it from a place of self-respect rather than self-loathing. They are not waiting for their bodies to meet an impossible standard before they allow themselves to be happy. They are already living, already moving, already showing up fully in their lives without hesitation. And this is what confidence actually looks like. It is not about having the perfect body. It is about deciding that you are already enough. It is about showing up, taking up space, refusing to shrink, refusing to apologize for existing. It is about recognizing that the world does not get to dictate your worth. That no number on a scale, no reflection in a mirror, no comparison to someone else's highlight reel can define who you are. This is why the most magnetic people are not always the most conventionally attractive. They are the ones who have presence. The ones who walk into a room and own it, not because they look perfect, but because they own themselves fully. They do not hesitate. They do not second guess. They do not waste time wondering if they are good enough. They have already decided that they are. And that decision is what makes them powerful. So this is the real question. What would happen if you stopped waiting? If you stopped believing that you need to reach some perfect version of yourself before you are allowed to feel confident, to feel worthy, to feel free? What if you decided that you already are? Because confidence is not something you earn through endless self-improvement. It is something you step into the moment you stop believing the lie that you were ever lacking in the first place. And the moment you make that decision, everything changes.